It's got to be a nice place I can take a photo from around here. Maybe over here. Okay. All right. I don't like that one. Let's try again. Maybe I'll do it like this way. Trying to get nice photos is always difficult, no matter where I go. Anyway, welcome everyone. We are in the beautiful island of Jeju. I don't know how many people have been here before, but it's right off the south coast of Korea, and it's not even that hard to get to. You can take a boat, you can fly there. I'll probably go there again maybe in a couple months. And yeah, it's just, except for that I'm right here right now. I'll probably come back here again in a couple months. Yeah, it's a wonderful, like a Hawaii for Korea. And if you ever get a chance to visit Korea and you have an extra week that you don't know what to do with, you want to explore somewhere else in Korea, check out Jeju. It's really nice, especially during, I'd say, as long as it's not like the super, super hot summer months, it's really nice any other time you're there. All right. Welcome to my mod. Hey, Secretive. And yes, if you're arriving here now, we're going to get started very soon at 2 o'clock. So we have 13 minutes left. While you're waiting, though, what better time than to do the prerequisites than right now? You have free time. You have 13 minutes, I said. Almost 12 minutes now. Make sure you know all of these forms before attempting to learn. Well, don't let me tell you what to do. But if you want my advice, don't try to do this until you know these forms first, because these are the ones you need to know. These are what we're going to be using in today's lesson, and they are the myeon form, so if, as well as the strong if form, which uses the plain form combined with myeon. So like hada would become handa myeon. So hamyeon and handamyeon, which are different forms. Also, and this might be the most important one you want to be really familiar with, uryogo. So like hada would become haryogo. And this one shows intention, like you're intending to do something, you're going to do something, or even that you're trying to do something. This is the most important one out of all of these, because this form we're learning today is actually directly from this form. And if you know this form very well, you'll get this form right away. Otherwise, you might not understand when you would even use it in the first place. And we're not going to be reteaching any of these today, so you want to know these before we start. Also, this form is commonly used with these three other forms. Ya 되다, so have to or must or need to, or ya hada, as well as with commands. So do things, don't do something. You want to know how to do commands as well as, in order to make commands, you also want to be familiar with honorifics. So things like haseyo, as in doing something when you're giving someone a command. So these are the three forms that this form we're going to be learning today will be used with most commonly. This is the form that our form is from originally, and this is the form that we're going to be comparing it with a little bit throughout the lesson. So you want all of these before today's live stream. Now, it is an intermediate level lesson, so the reason for that is, although all of these forms are beginner level forms, in order to learn this form, you have to already have all of these done. So because of that, I would say this is more in the intermediate level. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, you've got 11 minutes to learn all of these and come back really quick if you don't already know them. Welcome to the stream if you're just coming in right now. I'm going to be checking the chat for a little bit and giving some announcements while we get started. Hey, Nika. Welcome. Hey, Carrie. Ocean Discovery. Just saw you guys talking. Ocean Discovery says, 저는 한국어를 더 이해하려고 싶어서. You wouldn't use it like that. The 고 싶다 is for saying something you want to do, and the 려고 form is used for showing an intention. So you wouldn't be putting them together quite like that. But you still have 10 minutes left to watch my live stream about this and do a quick review. Okay. Wish I could learn them in 12. Yeah, if you don't know any of these, then 12 minutes probably is not a good amount of time to learn them. If you already know them, you just want a quick review, then yeah, 10 minutes is fine. A few announcements. A lot of these announcements I give every single week, so they're the same as always. If you are a Patreon member, you can get a worksheet and an outline for every single live stream. All of the live streams ever since I first started, there's a worksheet for them. So since 2018, and you can get all of those on Patreon, even if you are at the $1 tier. So you can go get that. Today's lesson, as soon as we finish, I'll put up the outline for that so you can check it out. You can review it, see all the sentences and the explanations. Everything is on here. Also, if you are a member of my channel, which many of you are, that's the people whose names show up with a little icon next to them. The people whose names are green, those are channel members. They get a lot of benefits. One is, as soon as the live stream is finished tonight, they get to watch this abridged version before everyone else. So tonight, they get to watch a 10-15 minute version of this whole lesson. So maybe they, they just kind of want to relax and listen during the lesson. They don't want to worry about taking notes. Then later they can watch the abridged version, which is, 10 minutes, and just then focus without having to watch the whole hour-and-a-half stream over again. So that's for all channel members. Also, if you're a channel member, what else was I going to say? There's something else really big. Oh yeah, that's right. You get to make all of the suggestions. In fact, today's topic was also suggested by a member. And all of the voting options that you see when I give the vote once a week, all of those also came from channel members, as well as Patreons. So if you are a channel member, make sure to send in your request. You can request any topic you want. It could be a topic I've already done. Now, as long as you're aware that I've already done it and you still want a redo of that, that's okay. That's up to you. But all of the suggestions come now from members. Since I received so many suggestions, I started taking them only from members. So if you have a request for a topic you'd really like me to teach in a future live stream, consider becoming a member and sending the suggestion to me, and it'll probably get added to the next list. I think that's all the announcements I have today, besides just one last thing. And that is, I have an active Discord community you can join. It's open 24/7. And although people are kind of all over different parts of the world, so sometimes we'll be more active or less active when most people are sleeping. But you can come there, ask questions, hang out with other learners. And we also just study there sometimes. Lately, I have been doing daily studying in the chat channel there. So if you want to kind of just study Korean with me, just sitting there and studying, but if you want to study Korean with me, you can join the Discord as well, and you'll probably find me in there once a day. And that is all the announcements I have for today. Thanks for listening. We still have 7 minutes left before the live stream starts for today's lesson, so feel free to ask any questions if you want before we get started. And if you have any other questions, like long questions, save those for after the lesson at around 3 o'clock when we're finished, and that's when I'll have a lot more time to answer them as well. For the price sub per month, inflation adjusted guac at Chipotle. I don't know about that. Maybe almost a guac. Almost a guac. You're talking like Ferrari money. Like you can either buy guac or you can yeah. Oh, I don't know how much that is. Mad. How much is mad? What is mad? So many currencies. That's like $11. Wow, thank you. I'll read your message in just a second. Fatih. I'm sure it's pronounced as Fatih. I'm going to take a pretty positive about that. And even if it isn't, I'm going to pronounce it as Fatih. Okay. Thank you. I know you will explain the lesson easily as usually. To the best of my abilities, yes, I will. Thank you. Let's give some dabs. Foss. Yep, you've got it. Foss, you might not need this lesson if you can already use it. Today's form it's not really complicated. The instruction of how to use it, you'll see it takes like 10 seconds. The reason that I would say it's okay still as a separate lesson is because there are certain forms it gets used with that you should know, and then also comparing it with other forms that people often get it confused with. So if you already know how to use it though, oh, and we'll also cover some alternate versions of it that you'll see. There are two alternate common versions. One that is dialect, that's really common though, And the other one is incorrect, but sometimes more common. So yeah. Let's see. Adri asks, do you fly Korean Air when visiting South Korea? I didn't used to. I used to just pick whatever was the cheapest because, I mean, it's just like taking a bus. Do you need to have like a fancy, like, you know, limousine, or can you just take like a public bus? Like, it's kind of like that. But then after having a kid and flying with a kid, the experience of Korean Air with a kid was much more pleasant than the experience of a kid having a kid for like regular. See, we flied Asiana, did we fly Thai Airline or something? We flew a couple other ones. Korean Air was the most comfortable, so we stick with that now. But if you're just going by yourself, you don't have kids, and you don't mind, you know, having a really comfortable experience, then just get whatever's the cheapest. At the end of the day, they all take you from the same airport to the same airport. So, and we'll get started in just 4 minutes, in case you're wondering when we get started. It's always right at 2 o'clock. So yeah, feel free to ask any other questions. Pinku asks, how long does it take to be fluent? That's a good question. I have a video about that. Actually, if you search my channel, how long does it take to learn Korean? And there is no answer to that. And anyone giving you a solid answer doesn't know what they're talking about. There is no answer like it will take this long or it will not take this long. There is nothing like that. It really all depends on you and your situation, how you're studying, how much you're studying, everything like that. So there isn't a solid answer for that. Adri says, I'm really tall, so I'm worried about legroom. If you want legroom, none of the airlines will provide you with that if you're flying economy. If you want legroom, you need to fly, I believe, some airlines business will be a little bit extra. It'll give you more legroom. Or you can fly economy if you get the seats that are in the middle, but right behind one of the stations for preparing the food. So, you know, one of the cabin crew has the little areas that go in the center of the airplane. I think they have one in first class. They have a couple in economy. It's across right from where the bathrooms are. But if you sit right in the front there in that first row, you have extra legroom. But as a downside to that, you don't have a TV in front of you. You have to pull it out of your side. And the lights will be on more often because everyone's going back and forth to go to the bathroom. So I wouldn't recommend there really, although it does get a little more legroom. So really you just have to pay for a, first class ticket, or I don't know, maybe business if it has extra legroom in the business section. There isn't really anything. It's not like Korean Air gives you more legroom. Are you planning on any collabs here in the US? That's the thing. I don't know anyone in the US now who's doing YouTube actively that I would be able to collab with. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Usually I just plan on doing collabs when I go to Korea because I know lots of people. Cameron, remember, donating via Billy's website gives them... Yes, that is true. I believe that is true, though I'm not picky. I'm not going to be, beggars can't be choosers, so I'm not going to be super picky about that. And whoa! Is this... I see why you said that. Cameron just did something tricky. Cameron's like, remember, if you donate via Billy's website. And I was like, let me just check my email to see if anyone did, just in case. Because if someone did, I don't want to ignore them through the whole stream. Cameron just donated $150. Wow. Cameron, that's insane. Welcome. Hey, Cameron, long time no see. Cameron, you are my producer for today. Cameron just mostly purchased a camera upgrade I was going to get next month. Thank you. Do you mind if I do because it's 2 o'clock, I got to start the lesson. Do you mind if I do 15 dabs instead of 150 dabs so that I can start on time and also so I don't kill my arm before we start? Oh, wait. Don't disclose? Don't disclose? Okay, sorry. Did I say Cameron? I didn't mean Cameron, okay? I meant Blamerin. Sorry, that was not Cameron. That was Blamerin. Blamerin, sorry. Not a C, it's with a B. I get that confused all the time. I'm sure you get that at Starbucks. Blamerin, whoever you are out there, Blamerin, thank you. I'm gonna give you a terrible name, but you know, I'm not gonna make fun of it. You've just given me a very nice donation to help me. Okay, let's do some dabs. Ugh. Thank you, Blamerin. I just want to get the word out about the website there. LOL. Okay. You gotta warn me. You gotta tell me. You gotta be like, Blamerin, whoever, for you out there, Blamerin, you gotta tell me. You're like, hey, I just did a small donation on your website. Check it, but don't disclose the amount or something like that. Then I'll. But anyway, thank you, Blamerin. Really appreciate it. Hey, you know, all of these lessons, everything that I do is all supported by you. Believe it or not, this is my full-time thing. I don't get a salary. I'm not getting paid by anyone. I've never done any sponsorship deals, so I'm not making money. Although I do often promote, you know, my Expo pens or last time kimchi soda. I don't get paid by anyone. So it's all from you. It's all through YouTube, my book sales, donations, you know, Patreon, memberships, all of that stuff is how I'm able to keep doing this. So yes, thank you. It all directly goes to me. There's no, KiCat doesn't actually take a cut of my earnings. It's all just me. Okay. So let's get started. We've got an intermediate level topic. So the topic we're going to be learning about today is, of course, uryeomyeon. Uryeomyeon. And the way you make it is you take an action verb stem. You're going to like how easy it is to make this form. You're also going to like how easy it is to understand. You take an action verb stem and you attach uryeomyeon. And that works the way that you would expect. If you have a consonant, you'll attach uryeomyeon. If you have a vowel, you'll attach ryeomyeon. And in the same way as other grammar forms that have this letter, if the verb stem happens to end with this letter, lir, you'll also attach ryeomyeon. So if you had the verb 살다, that would just be 살려면. Now you have conjugated the form. What is this form? Does anyone know what this form is? If you know what this form is, write it in chat. I want to see how many people already know. I'm going to write it up on the board though. See if you can write it before me. Okay, too slow. Let's see if anyone got it. Nope, no one got it before me. But yeah, anyway, Blamerin, you totally got the word out that my website goes, because yeah, PayPal only takes their little like processing fees. They don't take out like a chunk of it or anything. But anyway, ryeomyeon is actually just short for and has the exact same meaning as uryoko hameon. It's not just that this form came from this, but this form is this. It's like saying it's like saying Billy came from William. Like, it is the same thing. Same grammar form. No difference. It's not like, oh, well, you use this one in this situation and you use this one in this situation. It's the same thing. So, all right. See you guys next week. Make sure to vote on the topics. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. No. There's a little more we could talk about, but as far as the form itself goes, that's it. If you know how to use uryoko hameon, right? It's ryogo, intending to, hada. So if you're intending to do something, right? If you're going to do something, or sometimes this ryogo form can also mean want to, like I'm trying to do something, I want to do something, I'm intending to do something, I'm going to do something. Like those things, intending, going, wanting, or trying. And we learned about this form when we did the lesson about how to say to try. Like you can say, oh, I'm trying to lose weight these days. I'm trying to diet. That can have the same meaning in Korean as saying, I'm going to diet. Yeah, like, I'm intending to diet, so therefore I'm trying to. The reason I'm trying to is, well, it's my intention, which also means it's my want, it's my desire. So I'm gonna, that sort of meaning. So if you want to, if you're gonna, if you're intending to, if you will, all of these things. If you are intending, going, wanting to do this verb. Okay, that's the whole form. So, how is this form used then? Why is it even taught? Like, if that's it, if that's the only thing the form is, why do you even find grammar lessons about this, right? It's like, why would you teach something separate that is just part of a regular sentence structure? It's not really a special thing. Well, there are a couple reasons. One reason is because it's written shortly. It's not written as 우려고 하면. Most of the time, 우려고 하면 will be shortened to 우려면. So you just need to know it's the same thing, but that if you were to extend it out, it looks more like you're stretching out the sentence needlessly. It's much more natural, easier to say, and faster to shorten 우려고 하면 to 우려면. So just keep that in mind. That's why people use it in the first place. So this form is often used together. We're doing great on time. With a few other forms. Actually, you know what? You can guess which forms this is used with. I don't even need to write them in Korean. I'm not even talking about Korean. Let's just forget Korean for a second. Forget Korean. If you want to go to let me see. If you want to watch that new movie at the movie theater, how would you finish this sentence? If you want to go watch that movie today, how would you finish the sentence in English? What are some ways you could finish that sentence? If you want to go to the movies today, how would you finish that sentence? I'm not saying you can or can't do anything. Do whatever you want. How would you finish that sentence? If you want to go to the movies today, or you don't even need to think of it as wanna, but just if you're going to the movie theaters today, like if you're intending to, if you're going to, in that sort of sense. Let's see. Hanmi, you have to buy a ticket. I have to buy, yeah, you should buy a ticket. You should. Yeah, should. Then go. Yes. Very good. Harzin. Kenzie wrote it in Korean. 표를 사야 돼요. Yeah, you have to buy a ticket. If you're gonna go see a movie, you gotta buy a ticket. You gotta check the time of the movie you want to see. Yeah. Then you should. You should get gas first. Yeah. If you want to go see a movie, can you bring me popcorn? That doesn't really fit because it's talking about the movie. Not, hey, if you're going there, but if you want to go there. I didn't say if you're going to the movie today. I said if you want to go to the movie today. If you say if you're going to the movie today, then you could logically say, hey, if you're going there, well, you're there anyway, buy me some popcorn. But hey, if you want to go to the movies today, buy me some popcorn. Doesn't really fit. Like, hey, if you want to go to the movies today, then you should buy popcorn before 3 o'clock because they have a special or something. That could work. Don't forget your mask. That's true. Yeah. If you want to go to the movies today, don't forget your mask. At least in California. I don't know about the other states. 그럼 영화관에 가려면 그 영화관에 가려면 not 버스를 탈 거예요. You're going to have to take a bus if you want to go to the movie theater. You should take money with you. Okay. All of those are valid. If it logically makes sense in English, if you want to go to the movies today, then you can use it. And what are those forms you're all using what are all those forms you're using then in Korean? Well, you have to buy a ticket. That's 야 되다 and 야 하다. You have to. Someone also said should, right? You could use 면 좋겠다. There are other forms for should. This is just one. I'm just giving you one example. There's 뭐뭐뭐 하는 게 낫겠다. 하면 좋다. Like there's several words for. You could also just say a command. How about buy a ticket first? You know, if you want to go see a movie, buy a ticket. Command. And then honorifics would be linked to using commands. Because if you're going to tell someone to do something, you at least want to be polite about it. So you can use this with many forms in Korean the same way that you can use them in English. Have to, should, or just saying do it, right? So that's when you use it. So if you want to do something, then you must or you should do verb. Or if you want to do something, then do something. Or if you want to do something, then there's one more. Now, this is kind of similar to have to, but you might want to say something. So you'd mark it with e or ka, some sort of noun. Something is necessary. Then you need something. 표가 필요해요. You need a ticket, right? Just for example. So that's kind of the same thing as saying 표를 사야 돼요. You have to buy, you have to do it. But now you can also use it with nouns and just say you need something. So if you want to go to the movies today, you need a ticket, like that. So that's just one more form you'll commonly see it with. But there's no really rule. There's no like rule that you have to use it with these forms. But that's what it most often gets used with, just like it would in English. Okay, so now you know what the form is, where it came from, how to use it generally, what forms it's used with. How is this form then different than this? Or, similarly, 쉽다면. How is this form then different than these forms? Write in chat, make a guess. How do you think it could be different? I want to see if you know this. It's not complicated, but it might not be intuitive. Now, if you already get this form, don't even worry about this, how it's different. You don't actually have to know how it's different to use it because we just did it. I just showed you it works, right? If you want to do this, like if you're intending to do that, well, then you need to do this. So if you already get that, don't even worry about how it's different. But if you don't get that, if you're thinking, well, how is this form different than just saying, if you want to go to the movies, if you want to do this? Because you could say this, if you want to go to the movies today, you have to buy a ticket. You could say that, right? Sounds fine. It's okay in Korean too. 영화관에 가고 싶으면 or 싶다면 표를 사야 돼요. If you want to go to the theater, you have to buy a ticket. It works. It doesn't have the same nuance, but literally, if you want to go to the movies, buy a ticket. That sort of meaning. So you could use it. So then what's the difference? Think about it for a second. Write it down if you have any guesses. I'll tell you if you're right. Naya. Very good, Naya. 안셀니다 also, yes. Yes, Adria as well. Okay, great. I was thinking I would trick a lot of you, but several of you already have the general idea. 보고 싶다. Either of these forms is specifically for talking about someone's desires. Just what do they want? It has nothing to do with what they're going to do, right? You can say, I hate this job. I want to quit. I want to just I just want to give that boss a piece of my mind. I just want to, you can want a lot of things. That doesn't mean you're going to do them. It's pretty deep, isn't it? 우려고, however, doesn't have anything to do with a person's desires. In fact, maybe you don't even want to do it, but that's what you're going to do. You intend to do it. It's your will. It doesn't matter if it's just your desire. It's what you're actually going to do. So we would call that your intention. So I intend to do something. I'm going to do something. I'm trying to do something. It's what my will is to do that. Doesn't mean it's my desire, right? You can say, I really want to quit here, but I'm going to work, 3 more years first. I really want to quit, but I'm going to work 3 more years, right? They don't conflict. They're different meanings. So you can say, if you want to go to the movie theater, if that's what you want, then, hey, you should buy a ticket. You should do this or don't do this or whatever. That's okay. But it doesn't have the same meaning as, hey, if that's what you're going to do anyway, let me tell you, right? There's a different nuance to it. If you want to go to the movie theaters, well, you could say anything you want with that, but it's just talking about their desires. Like, hey, well, I know you want to go to the theaters, but if you want to go, then do this. Then I'll go too, or, I'll go together. But hey, if you're going to go to the movie theaters, if you want to go to the movie theaters, kind of like that, if you're intending to go to the movie theater today, then you need something, then you should do something, then something's necessary. That's what typically comes out of this form. So this form actually is more restrictive in how you can use it, because it's going to typically be followed by saying something is necessary or should be done or you have to do it. Whereas this doesn't have any sort of requirement like that. It's just a straight grammar form it's just directly related to a person's desires. So because of that, this form actually isn't really used if you want to say, if you're going to do something like that. This is more just asking directly if you want to do something like that. I'm trying to think if I would even use this one, when I would use this form as this. 같이 가고 싶으면, if you want to go together with me, 같이 가고 싶으면, 그럼, like, hey, if what you really want is to go together, like if that's what you really want, I was trying to think, what's a comparison of this in English that kind of conveys a similar feeling? Because this has a different feeling. If that's what you really want, like if that's what you want, that sort of meaning. Because we're talking about desires with this form. I hope this kind of helps clarify the nuance difference between these two forms. So this is like, hey, well, yeah, if you really want to go see a movie today, then yeah, let's go together. Sure. If you want to be a chef, well then, I'll buy you a cooking book. If that's what you really want, if that's what you want, that's what this form has a feeling of. Not if you're gonna do that. Like, hey, well, if you're trying to be a chef, well, you need to buy books. You need to do something. Typically not, if you want to become a chef, then I will do something for you doesn't fit. The reason for that also has to do with this form. And I talked about this when I did the lesson about it before. Whenever you're using 의료고 for any form, the person doing an action, the person doing this is also whoever's going to be doing something afterward. So it's not like I'm intending to do something and Charsu is doing something else. It's going to be I'm doing something and I'm doing something else. Like I am doing something, intending to doing something else. I am doing something. It's like this. I am doing something. Let me say this again because I have to edit this video later. It's going to be hard if I'm like laughing. So this one's more like saying if I'm trying to do something or if I'm intending to do something, then, well, I need to do something else. Or I am, I'm making an effort trying to do something. Or I'm doing something in order to do something like that. This subject is going to be the same. It's going to be the same person, A. Whereas this doesn't really have any requirement for that. You can say, if you really want to do something, I can do this. Or you should do this. Or anything like that. Okay. That's a little bit more detail than you probably wanted. Also I should mention that if you're talking about a person's intentions, that's kind of also talking about something that they're putting effort into doing. So something that they're trying to actually do, not simply something that's happening, but something that they're actively doing. So keep that in mind when you're picking an action verb. All right, so let's move on. Hopefully that kind of clears it up. So yeah, different forms, unrelated. You wouldn't use the first one so often, but I think it could be okay. All right. Yes, we finished our explanation. Let's do our first sentence. And because we have a little bit of extra time, I want all of you, yes, you, I want all of you to finish this sentence. I'm going to write up the first part. I already don't have space. Let's try it again. Okay, 밖에, so outside. 나가다 is to go out. Okay, 밖에 나가려면 finish this sentence. There is no right answer until I write up the correct answer. Right now, there's no correct answer. I want to see how you'll finish this sentence. Give it your best shot. Can you see it okay? You read it okay? Okay. 밖에 나가려면 you know what'd be really cool is if I had like a watch inside of my skin so that I wouldn't have to wear a watch, but that I could still do this and check the time. And then people would be like, you don't have a watch. You're not actually checking the time. And I'd show them and I'd actually have the time on my wrist. And they'd be like, wow, you're a freak. Why would you do that? I'd be like, that would be so cool. Okay, let's see what everyone's writing. Nice, Ocean Discovery. I just saw Ocean Discoveries first when I looked at the chat. Very good. Let's see what else everyone else has. Okay, I'm not sure where I need to start. I see some people are giving other examples first, so let's go down. Malik, 같이 가세요. Okay, let's go together. Go together with me. Wear a mask. 우산을 챙겨야 돼요. Very nice, Ocean Discovery. You got to bring your umbrella. 우산이 필요해요. You need an umbrella. Yeah. 따뜻하게 입으세요. Yep, dress warmly. Dress nice and warm. 옷을 따뜻하게 입으세요. And as well as Amanda as well. 자켓을 입어야 돼요. You have to wear a jacket. 음악을 들어요. If you want to go outside, listen to music. Is this like a apocalyptic scenario where zombies can't attack you if you're listening to AirPods? I can't think of any situation where that would make sense. So I'm going to say no to 음악을 들어요 if you want to go outside. Let's see. 외투 꼭 입으세요. Yep, got to wear your outer coat. Oh, Yusu, you wrote 마스크를 업. It's not op. If you're talking about wear, that's 쓰다, like to use. 쓰다. So they say anything that you're putting on your face, like a hat or glasses or a mask, those are all 쓰다. That doesn't include anything. That doesn't include things that are hanging on your ears or anything like that. Just things you put over your face or head are 쓰다, not 입다. 입다 would be over your whole body. So like shirts, pants, things like that. 모자 써야 돼요. Okay, you got to wear a hat if you want to go outside. Persian, you're missing 입어야 돼요, not 입어 돼요. But 입어야 돼요 will be okay. Yeah, if you want to go outside, you should put on some clothes. Yeah, in this day and age, you should probably be wearing clothes when you're going outside. I mean, do whatever you want, but yeah, you probably should. If you want good things to happen, wear clothes. 코트를 입어야 돼요. Very nice. Yeah, you got to first put on a coat. 열쇠를 가져가야 해요. Yeah, you got to bring the key if you're going to go outside. Okay, very good. You have lots of nice options here. So know that you have a lot of options with this form. You're not restricted to having to think about this logically too much. If it makes sense generically, like, hey, if you're going to do this, use it. It's going to be okay. You're probably going to be all right. I'm going to finish the sentence, and I see I got a small donation. Let me check here. 밖에 나가려면, I'm going to write the rest, and then I'm going to check the donation. Okay, let's see who the oh, it's a new member. Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul. Welcome. Oh, actually, I should put an M because it's not really it's not just an amount. You're now a member of the family. We turn this off. Oh, did I get something else? It just started flashing. Did something else happen? Oh, a new member. I thought I just turned off the member notification and then it started flashing again. Another member. Got two new members of our family. Christina. Yeah, more green people. It's always better to have more green people. Don't you think? Okay, yes, welcome to our new members, our new family members, Paul and Christina. Thank you, I appreciate it. So, here's our sentence. I think that's good. Okay. 밖에 나가려면. So, if you're intending to, if you're going to, if you're gonna go outside, well then, you need an umbrella. So, 우산을 가지고 가세요. 가지고 가다, literally to take and go. So, take your umbrella. 우산. 밖에 나가려면 우산을 가지고 가세요. So, if you want to go outside, here, take your umbrella. Okay, next one. How are we on time? Okay, now we're catching back up. Okay, so this one I'm just going to write out. 세계 여행을 하려면. So, 세계 means world. 여행 means a trip. So, a trip around the world. If you want to go on a trip around the world, 세계 여행을 하려면. If you want to take a trip around the world, everyone knows what the answer to this one is. Everyone can finish this sentence. What do you need? Well, you need a lot of money. It's my dream to travel around the world and photograph everything on Instagram. Fortunately, my dad's rich. Okay, so 세계 여행을 하려면. So if you want to do a trip around the world, you need a lot of money. 돈이 많이, a lot. 필요해요. So literally money, a lot of it is necessary. If you want to travel around the world, literally if you want to do a world trip, 세계 여행을 하려면 돈이 많이 필요해요. You need a lot of money if you want to travel around the world or take a trip around the world. Okay, next sentence. Oh, and in case you're wondering, while I'm teaching this lesson, in case you're wondering how common is this form? Is this like a fancy form? It is super common. It sounds very natural and normal. And I used it all the time in Korea. One thing you're going to use this for very often is asking directions or telling someone directions somewhere. I would use this all the time, every day for asking questions for how to get places. Okay, hopefully you can read that. Don't worry. I promise I will improve my writing. My writing's just never been really very nice in English or Korean, but I promise I'll work on improving it over the next couple months. This is going to be something that, okay, this is actually really cool. So how would you ask someone directions somewhere in Korea? Normally, if you don't have this form, which a lot of people don't, maybe I'll say most of you didn't already know how to use this form. Even if you've heard it before, you wouldn't know how to use it yourself. I'm just going to make a guess that most of you do not use this form regularly in your Korean practice. How would you normally ask then how to get somewhere? When you're lost, if you want to find something, you might say something, like the location, 어디 있어요? Where is it? Or maybe, you know a little bit more grammar. You say, 어디 있는지 아세요? Okay, do you know where it is? You might even be a little bit fancier. You want to say, something, this place, 찾고 있는데 혹시 어딘지 아세요? By chance, do you know where it is? Okay, now we're getting a little better. Here's an even more natural way. It doesn't have the same literal meaning. Somewhere. I don't know why I'm translating the 뭐뭐. Anyway, so location 에 가려면. If I'm trying to go here, how do I get there? 저기요. 네. 박물관에 가려고 하는데 박물관에 가려면 어떻게 가야 돼요? 박물관에 가려면 어떻게 가야 돼요? So if I'm trying to go to the museum, how do I get there? That's like, it sounds kind of like in English you're saying, hey, if I'm trying to get to the museum, which way do I go? It doesn't sound better than the other options we had. Do you know where this is? Or how can I get here? It doesn't sound better, but it does sound in some ways a little bit less like something that would come out of a textbook, a little bit more like something someone might just say without thinking, right? It has a bit more of a casual feel to it. 가려면. So literally, if you are intending to, or even if I'm intending to, in that situation when you ask that, like if I'm trying to get to here, how do I get there? Very natural way to ask directions. So I would ask that all the time when I was in Korea. Like, hey, I'm trying to find, this restaurant. I heard there's a restaurant around here. Do you know where it is? And then it's like, it doesn't sound like, hey, excuse me, sir, I am trying to find this restaurant. It's like, hey, I'm trying to get here. Do you know how to get there? So it sounds a little bit more natural. Not better, but it has a more natural feel. 화장실에 가려면. 화장실. So bathroom. 화장실에 가려면. So if you're trying to go to the bathroom, that's not what this means. If you're trying to get to the bathroom, okay, you're not trying to go. If you have problems going to the bathroom, you should probably see a doctor. If you're trying to get to the bathroom, if you're trying to locate the bathroom, 저기에서, over there, 오른쪽으로 가세요. So from over there, go to the right. So if you're trying to get to the bathroom, if you're intending to go to the bathroom, well then you should go right over there. Don't go right. The problem is putting the word bathroom. Don't go right over there. Don't go right over there. Okay. This was a mistake. This whole sentence. 화장실에 가려면 저기서 오른쪽으로 가세요. So if you're intending to go to the bathroom, well then you should I'm just going to read the translation I wrote. If you want to go to the bathroom, so you're looking for the bathroom, then you should go to the right over there. 화장실에 가려면 저기에서 오른쪽으로 가세요. Okay. Was Billy just possessed? What happened? Okay, the sentence is done. I don't know why I wrote this one. I didn't even think about it in English when I wrote it. I would have stopped myself. And for record, that is not how you say go to the bathroom in Korean. That's how you say literally to go to the bathroom, like to go to the restroom. To go to the bathroom is a different word. That would be like to relieve yourself and that sort of thing. I guess I could tell you. Hold on. Let's check any other sentences I have. If I could replace this first. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. What's the difference between these two words? This is not in the lesson today. I felt inspired to share this message with you today. 시다, 시하다 are two different verbs. Please, don't use this one unless you know exactly what it means. 쉬다. Yes. Ask about, I don't know what you're talking about. You have to edit a video only of you laughing. Yeah, that would be a waste of everyone's time to watch that. Okay. 쉬다 is the regular verb that you learn. It's a beginning vocabulary word. Means to rest. Like take a break. To rest. 쉬고 싶어. I just want to take a break. 정말 좀 쉬고 싶어. 좀 쉬면 안 돼? Can I just take a break? Like just to rest. 집에서 쉬었어. 하루 종일 쉬었어. I just rested all day at my house. Rest. 쉬하다. So it's the same thing just with 하다. So 쉬하다 means to go to the bathroom. It means to urinate. To urinate. So if you say, 진짜 집에서 하루 종일 쉬하고 싶어. I just want to urinate all day at my house. Your friends are going to be like, you know what? I appreciate you for being honest. Go do whatever you want. But I'm not joining you. 쉬하다. So kids will use this. In fact, I should say this is kind of a kid word. It's not a word that adults will use seriously. Maybe an equivalent would be like saying whiz, like to go whiz or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of a childish word, but sometimes adults are childish too, and you'll hear it. Everyone uses it. Anyway, okay, that has been a public service announcement. Let's get back to the lesson. Oops. I'm just glad YouTube doesn't have like clips like Twitch does. Okay. 영화를 보려면 지금 여기로 오세요. Okay, let's check here. Oh, and I got another member. Hey, Alyssa. Thank you, Alyssa. Welcome to the family. Our new member, Alyssa. Everyone say hi. That part will just be edited out of the... We'll see. The more you know. Yes. Okay. Hold on. Let's turn this off. Okay. 영화를 보려면 영화, movie. 영화를 보려면. So if you want to see a movie, literally, if you're going or intending to see a movie, like, hey, if you want to see a movie, right, you're going to do it. Then 지금, right now, 여기, here, 여기로 오세요. Come here now. Hey, you want to see a movie? Come over here. I'm watching a movie. I didn't say what movie it is. It's going to be Lord of the Rings extended edition, all three, back to back. Yeah. 영화를 보려면 지금 여기로 오세요. If you want to watch a movie, come over here. Come over here right now. We're watching a movie. 영화를 보려면 지금 여기로 오세요. If you want to watch a movie, come over here. Come over here if you want to watch a movie. Okay. We're okay on time. Okay. 좋은 자리에 앉으려면 일찍 가야 해요. 좋은, good, 자리, seat. If you want a good seat, if you want a good spot, right? 좋은 자리에 앉으려면, so 앉다 means to sit down. So if you want to sit down in a good spot, literally, if you want to get a good seat, 일찍, early, 가야 해요. You have to go early if you want to get a good seat. 좋은 자리에 앉으려면, 좋은 자리에 앉으려면 일찍 가야 해요. If you want to sit down, if you're intending to sit down in a good seat, well then you have to go early. 일찍 가야 해요. 좋은 자리에 앉으려면 일찍 가야 해요. Okay. I'm just going through these a little fast because they're short. Okay, this one I want you to finish. I want you to finish this sentence. Okay, how would you finish this sentence? 주차하다 means to park. 주차한 곳. So the place that you parked. 잊다 means to forget. 잊어버리다. So completely forget something. 잊어버리지 않으려면. So if you don't want to forget the place that you parked, how would you finish this? Something like, you have to do something, or you should do something, or you need something, or you have to do something, like anything like that. How would you finish this sentence? See what everyone can get. Ayakata. Yes, that's the verb you wrote up there. That's the standard way of saying it, but people don't actually use that in casual speech because it sounds kind of like formal. But I mean, yeah, that works too. Persian Prince, Hobbit? No, sorry, no thanks. The original ones, yes. I'm a fan of the original ones. I'm not a fan of the Hobbit. 3 movies? They made 3, right? There's a lot of good stuff in there. I feel like they could have been really great movies. There's a lot of good stuff mixed in with just as much bad stuff. So, I don't know. They're hard for me to like. 핸드폰으로 사진을 찍으면 돼요. Very nice, answer입니다. 사진 찍어야 돼요. Very nice, Paul. 신발 두고 가세요. How is that gonna help? How is that gonna help, Julia? Then you lose your car and your shoe. If you want to find the place you parked, leave your shoe there, right? No. You're gonna be like hopping around the parking lot, like looking for your shoe. And that's a terrible idea. Worst idea ever. 주차한 곳을 잊어버리지 않으려면 차 위에 you gotta put a fire on top of your car. Yes, Small. I'll give that to you. Yeah. That's one way to make sure you never forget where you parked your car. No one's gonna forget where you parked your car after that. There's just like a smoke signal, right? Just put up a big smoke signal. Or even better, if you're gone for a long time, you don't even have to look for the smoke. You just find the flashing fire truck lights. They'll guide you right to your car. Yeah, great. I'll give you that one. That's acceptable. Because, I'm teaching grammar. I'm not teaching ethics. So, 숫자를 적어야 돼요. You have to write down the number. Okay. Teresa, actually, some really good advice, actually good advice, is you don't actually have to do anything these days. If you have an Android phone, I know that Google automatically saves your parking space. If you go to Google Maps, it knows, like if you had navigation turned on and then you stop and you get out of your car, it automatically saves your car's location. It doesn't work inside of a building very well, but if you're outside, then it works pretty good. So I just use that. Another method is even better, is I just look at the entrance that I go in from whenever I go anywhere. I pay attention to the entrance that I came in from. Because if I just remember where I entered in, like the building entrance or maybe a staircase or something like that, or which elevator, then I can get back pretty easily. But if I just know, like I'm parked in here, D7 or whatever, that's really hard. Instead, it's like, no, I remember I came in through this elevator, or this doorway, then that's a lot easier for me. Okay. 주차한 곳을 잊어버리지 않으려면 저 나무 밑에 주차해야 돼요. Okay. That's really good, actually. That's a good spot. If you want to remember, if you don't want to forget where you park, well, then you got to park underneath this tree because you can see this tree. You'll know where your car is parked. Very good. There have been a lot of creative answers to this one. So I'm surprised. I'm going to make a very simple ending to this sentence. Take a picture. 주차한 곳, the place you parked. 주차하다, to park. 잊어버리지 않으려면, so if you don't want to forget where you parked, 사진을 찍으세요. Take a picture. Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer. Okay, you gotta take a picture. 주차한 곳을 잊어버리지 않으려면 사진을 찍으세요. If you don't want to forget where you parked, take a picture. You could do that, though then sometimes you'll end up with a picture of your car in the parking space and like no identifying features. I should have thought this a little bit better before I did it. That could work if you have a building that has lots of like numbers and stuff around it or features in it, then you can find. But someplace like Disneyland where it's just like you're in the Mickey Mouse lot, good luck finding your car in the Mickey Mouse lot unless you remember like exactly what floor and which section you're parked in. I mean, yeah. Anyway, 주차한 곳을 잊어버리지 않으려면 사진을 찍으세요. So if you don't want to forget where you parked, take a photo. I can do Mickey Mouse voice pretty well, but I was worried. Is it okay to like do like voice impersonations? Like they don't care about that for like copyright issues? I actually don't know. Okay, maybe there's like some Disney exec watching me like, don't you dare. You don't. Okay, let's do the next one. I guess I can because it's like a parody. Okay. 이런 사진을 찍으려면, so if you see like a really cool photo and you're like, how can I take that kind of photo? Well, 이런 사진, this kind of photo, 이런 사진을 찍으려면, so if you're trying to take this kind of photo, if you want your photo to look like this, 저기서 찍어야 한대요. Now this is not the 대 form. This is not like 하는데요. This is 한대요. This is a quote. 이런 사진, this kind of photo. 찍으려면, if you're trying to take this kind of photo, well, 저기서, from over there, 찍어야 한대요. So they say, or I heard you have to take it from over there. So if you want to take this kind of photo, if you want your photo to look like this, well, you got to take it from over there, they say. 이런 사진을 찍으려면 저기서 찍어야 한대요. 이런 사진을 찍으려면 이런 사진 찍으려면 저기서 찍어야 한대요. Okay. Last sentence for this form, and then we're going to go on to two alternative forms that you might see. And since we're doing okay on time, I want you to finish this sentence. This is our last sentence for this form. See, this form's pretty easy, huh? Okay, this one's a little bit trickier because there are a lot of options you could have here. 집을 고치다. 고치다 means to fix, to repair. 집을 고치려면, so if you want to fix up your house, if you want to repair your house, that sort of meaning, there could be so many things that could go in here. So a little bit harder. Feel free to be creative or not. You can just say whatever comes to your mind and write it out in chat. Take 2 minutes, and I'll check the chat while you're doing that. You can use the geolocation data in the photo. Yeah, but again, that's going to be hard to find where you parked. When you look at your photo and it says location 28.6.34 dash, good luck with that. Finding your coordinates from a photo. You'd have to download a separate app to extract that and to find it on the map, and then another app to put that into Google Maps. It would be easier just to download an app specifically for finding your parking space. And yeah, and when you're inside of a parking structure, you can't really do much about it because the GPS won't work there very well anyway. 목수를 고용하겠다. Again, I would hire, not something I will. Remember, this is something typically that you need or you have to do or you should do, or someone telling someone to do something like a command. Okay, small, very good, yeah. 돈을 모아야 돼요. Okay, you gotta save up your money. 계획을 해야 돼요. Nice, Adri. 돈이 필요해요. Yes, D. Very simple, but you're not wrong. 난방이 겨울을 위해 작동하는지 확인할 거. I think I'm gonna check. Remember, it's not things that if you want to do something, I'm going to do something. That logically doesn't make sense. It has to be something that you need or you should do or telling someone to do something. So when in doubt, think about it in English. If you want to do that, well then, you need this. You should do this. Or well then, you should then just do it or something like that. Okay, 언제든지 연락 주세요. Okay, maybe if you're a contractor, Julia, that could work. 계약자를 고용해야 돼요. Okay, I actually don't know if that's the word for contractor. I know that's the word for the actual term contractor, but I don't know if that's what they would. I don't think that's what they would say for a contractor, because 계약 is actually a contract. So 도급업자. I think that's what 시공자. Let me check. Maybe 시공자. 청부업자. Let's see. Yeah. 도급업자. Looks like I can see that for a couple. Or 도급업체 would be the company, like the organization. 주인. 업자 could be. Yeah, 업자 could work. 도급 업자. If we had a Korean, I can ask them which one's more common. It looks like 업자. Hey, what's up, Ja? You got some 업자 on your face. Yeah. Okay, let's see what everyone's writing. Okay, great. I'm just reading some of the other sentences. Nice. There are a lot of options you can do. Mine is a little bit more specific. First of all, 청소부터. So literally, from the cleaning. 집을 고치려면. So if you're trying to fix your house, 청소부터 하는 게 낫겠다. 청소, house cleaning, 부터, from the cleaning. Literally, 하는 게 낫겠다. It would be better to do it from the cleaning, but that's how you say it would be better to start by cleaning it. So if you want to fix up your house, hey, how about start by cleaning it first? 집을 고치려면 청소부터 하는 게 낫겠다. So if you're trying to fix the house, start by cleaning it. Like, don't worry about like the broken toilet seat when you've got like a pile of trash in front of in the sink, right? 집을 고치려면 청소부터 하는 게 낫겠다. So first, start by cleaning it if you're trying to fix your house. Okay, so that is this form. But there are two other versions of this form that you'll see commonly. And I don't typically teach incorrect Korean or dialect to you unless it is so common that you need to know it. Because there really is a lot of, for every grammar form, there will be alternate versions. Not every grammar form. A lot of grammar forms will have alternate ways that people will make them or use them. Sometimes they are simply wrong. Even though it's semi-common, it's completely wrong, so I wouldn't recommend it. This is a case where, although it's wrong, it is so common that I do recommend knowing it. You don't need to use it though, but know of it, because you will hear it. Another way to hear this form, 으려면, another alternative version, which is informal. So you're not going to use this on an essay or when you're trying to speak formally, but just casually or just speaking, informally, just in a regular colloquial situation, it's fine. And that is, instead of using you use an extra lir. And that works the same way as you would guess. So the end result looks almost identical, but the pronunciation is slightly different. Let me show you what that looks like. In our regular form, if we have 하다 and 먹다, 하다 would become 하려면, right? And 먹다 would become 먹으려면. So we already know that. In this form, all you do is you add an extra lir. 하려면, 먹으려면. Now, I admit, this way is sometimes easier for me to say, but it's not standard. It's not standard and it's not accurate. It is incorrect. So just be aware you might see it. Even more though than seeing it, you might hear it. For example, if I were to say 화장실에 가려면, you might also hear 화장실에 가려면. You can hear there's a slight difference. 가려면, 가려면. There's that extra lir in there. So again, it's incorrect, but it's very common. Not a huge deal though. Just don't write it that way. There's one more way that is more like a dialect. But this is actually the way that I learned this form first. So before I used a textbook, this was the way that I would use this form. So in fact, I had to change this because when I used to live in Korea, I would say this. The same as before with an extra lir, but instead of 려면, you have 라면. Everyone likes 라면, right? Ramen, delicious 라면. So in our first form, in the regular form, you would have something like 가려면, and in the informal version, you might have 가려면, And in the dialect version, at least it was kind of like this when I was in Busan. I'm sure other areas share this as well. 가려면, 가려면. 화장실 가려면, 화장실 가려면 어떻게 가야 돼? 어느 쪽에 있는지 아세요? 가려면. So 하려면, 먹으려면. Again, this is less common, but you'll still hear it from older people typically. You might hear older people use this from time to time. Just be aware it's the exact same form. And if you're wondering, not really this form, but if you're using the 의료고 form as well, that form also is used 라. So you might hear an older person say like 하려고 그러는데 I'm trying to do something. Instead of 하려고 그러는데 하려고. So it's the same thing. It's just because this form, 요고, can become 라고 in that dialect. So yeah, you might hear that. Just be aware of it if you hear it. It's the exact same thing. But again, I don't recommend personally using it because if you suddenly throw in dialect into your non-dialect Korean, it sounds very awkward. It would be like saying, yes, I do enjoy learning Korean. How about y'all? It's like, why? Why would you mix dialect with standard Korean? It sounds very awkward. If you're speaking all dialect and then you throw in, stronger dialect, that's fine. Like, I don't speak like that. But if I were to try to do like, my stereotypical fake Texas dialect, howdy y'all, okay, I'm sorry if you're actually from Texas. I know that's not how you talk. Okay, stereotype, right? That's fine if I'm trying to do the whole thing like that. But if you just slip in, one or two dialect words into regular Korean, it sounds very awkward. It doesn't match. It sounds like you're purposely trying to use dialect. Anyway, that it would be very awkward. So I don't recommend using it. Just be aware that it has the same meaning. Okay, that is our full lesson for today. Really quick, we have a Q&A session, which I'm going to start in just 1 minute. So feel free to ask any questions in chat if you have. We'll do that for about 15 minutes. If you are a member on Patreon, you get access to all of the worksheets and outlines, as well as today's outline on there. All Patreons get that. If you are a member of the channel, which we have 3 new ones today, Paul, Christina, and Alyssa, you get to watch this abridged version. So this live stream abridged tonight, probably around 3-4 hours from now. You can check it out. And everyone else has to wait until typically Wednesday or Thursday morning. So thank you as well for joining. Also, if you are a member, make sure to get in your requests for future live streams. Today's live stream was requested by a member. All of them are requested by members only. So yeah, if you want to make a request, now is your chance. So please do that. Thanks for joining. And now feel free, if you have any questions, I'll take them for about 15 minutes. We'll do a short Q&A. That is the whole lesson. So feel free to ask questions about the lesson or anything else related to Korean. Okay. And yeah, if you were holding in any questions, now is the time to ask. Okay, let's see what everyone's saying. And Selmanida, Billy, you work so hard. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. And thank you everyone for coming. I always appreciate all of you for coming to the live streams. I know not everyone has the time to join me live during these classes, but this is my last cup of this tea that I bought last year in February. So I'm sure it expired, but dagnabbit, I'm going to drink all of it because I paid for it. And that's how I spend your donations, I don't want to waste it. So I bought this tea, loose leaf tea from Winco, which is awesome. Winco is really cool. It's just like a store, like Costco, but you don't have to buy it in bulk. But the prices are like Costco. And so I had like this loose leaf tea, and I got this giant bag of it because I was dumb. I didn't think about it. And I've been drinking it like every week since last February. And this is the last bag of it. So, okay. Do you have any lessons regarding Uro Inhada? Yes, I do. Check out my... There's a Google Doc you can find linked in every single one of the community posts that I make. Click that, search for it, you will find it. I have them. see. Oh, I got a donation. It hasn't shown up on my screen yet, but I see the board's already flashing. There we go. Finesser. Hey, Billy. Just wanted to show some support. Great stuff. Is that... Hold on. This is a random comment. Is that your actual profile picture there? That looks like a totally professional photo. It just like popped out at me. Finesser. Like a photo that you'd see on like a developer, like a company website. Like, meet our staff. You know? Finesser. Head of human resources. That sort of photo. Anyway, thank you, Finesser. Again, all of the everything in this channel is brought to you by you. So this is all user supported, everything. I don't have a stream of income separately. I don't work a regular job. I just sit around all day writing books and lessons and making videos and filming stuff. Pretty much that's all I do all day, 7 days a week, even today and yesterday, all day yesterday. Yeah, so I just want to say thanks. Okay. Let's see. Fatih, I have a very basic question. I don't know when to use 아까 and 일찍 and 나중에 and 늦게. Well, four very different words. To not take too much time, let me cover them really quick. 아까 is just a little bit ago, a little while ago. So this is what, whenever you're saying something like, I just did something, but you don't mean like just right now. If you mean like just as in right now, I just finished it, like it's just been finished, then you would use 방금, which is a different adverb. But if you just want to say, yeah, it was just a bit ago. Yeah, we just, like I just went there on vacation, right? Obviously, it doesn't mean you were just there the other day. It's like, maybe a week ago, maybe a few days ago. 아까, a little while ago. It could be the same day. So it's not really set in stone how you use it. It's just a little while ago. That sort of meaning. 일찍 means early. Did you do something early? Did you realize it early? Do you arrive early? Do you finish your work early? Anything early. 늦게 is late. Did you finish work late? You go to bed late? Wake up late? All that stuff. Although typically to go to bed late, they wouldn't say 늦게. Well, actually, they would say 늦게 자다 would be sleeping late, but not. It's a little bit different. I'd have to give a short lesson because there's also another one, 늦게까지, which is what they use for like until late. Anyway, 늦게 is late. That's all you need to know if you're wondering those differences. And 나중에 is later, as in not today. So if people say, I'll see you later, and they use 나중에, it means like way in the future, not soon, much later, as in, much later is better. Like, see you later, hopefully much later, that's sort of later. Later. Not today. If you mean later, as in like in a bit, then that's 이따가 or 이따. This means soon, later. As in like today. 이따 올 거야. He's coming a bit later, as in today, later. If you say 나중에 올 거야, that's like much later. Like if it's in the morning, you might be able to say 나중에, like, night time, but it's not going to be the same day typically. It could be like the next day or the next week or whatever. So yeah, those are the differences, but those are completely different words. So, okay. My parent says 금방 instead of 방금. Those are different. Because there's a different word, 금방. 금방. Okay, 방금. These are different. But okay, if you want to say you just did something, 방금. Did I say 금방 before? I hope I didn't mix it up a second ago when I was saying. If you say you just did something, 방금. I might have written it as 금방 by mistake a second ago because I wasn't thinking. Did I write on the board 금방 or 방금 before when I said just? 금방 했어. 방금 했어. 방금. It would be 방금. But there is another one, 금방. 금방 is soon. If I wrote 금방 before, 금방 is soon. 방금 is just. Because I don't know if I was thinking and wrote it down the other way. Yeah. 금방 is soon, as in like after a little bit. 금방 갈게. I'll go in a bit. I'll go in a second. I'll go right away. I'll go there soon. Like later, but yeah, don't worry. It won't be tomorrow later. 금방. 방금 is if you just do something. I just did it. 방금 했어. I've just now finished it. So yeah, these are both words, but they have different meanings. So you might hear people use both. 금방 is typically used more, I would say, when you're telling someone you're going to do something right away. Like, don't worry soon, that sort of thing. Not let's meet soon. Whereas you could say 이따 보자, like let's meet later. Let's meet soon. But you wouldn't 금방 보자. You wouldn't say that. This would be typically when you're saying like, hey, don't worry, or I'm going to do something. Something will happen soon. So these have different nuances to them. Time frame, but opposite. Yeah, kind of. You want to say like just before or just after a bit? But I don't recommend like getting really technical about vocabulary words, because if you ask me a question, like right now, you can say, oh, what's the difference between this one and this one, this one and this one, right? We could go on like that for days, and you would not really, at the end of the day, you would listen to everything, you take notes, but you wouldn't really know it yourself. I learned these differences not from studying them in a book more than once. I might look it up for clarification every now and then to remind myself, oh, that's not how it's used, or oh, I'm supposed to use it like that. But the general feeling that you get of how this word is different than this, right? Why do you use this one? When do I use this one? You're not going to get that from studying. You're going to get that from lots of exposure and practicing it by yourself. Exposure because you need to hear it in the first place to know how people use it. But then practicing so that you don't actually forget it, so that you can actually use it yourself. If you're just listening all day, you're never going to be able to use it. You're going to forget it. You have to be using Korean alongside listening to it. So don't get too caught up on minute differences between vocabulary words. Instead, you can kind of learn the basics, like, oh, I see, that's like much later, and this one's a little later. But don't get too deep in beyond that. Because I could tell you, well, like, how many hours later must it be for ita, or how many hours for 나중에, or is this? And there might be answers to that if we think about that. Like, oh, well, 나중에 has to be at least this, or it could be this day if it's this. It's usually in this situation, it means a week later, right? There are going to be these different specifics that you could get into for any word in Korean, because it all just comes down to a feeling. It's a nuance of when they typically, what it actually means beyond just the English translation. And the only way to get that is from actually using the language. So exposure and practice. So yeah, don't get too caught up in that. Just focus, as long as you're getting exposure and practice, it'll take care of itself. You'll learn those differences from intuition. Because someone was trying to comment something, but no one sees it. Okay. I've been using 금방 incorrectly all my life. Oh no. Well, I'm sure they would understand you. See, you wrote 방금 before. Okay, I wasn't sure if I wrote, I was thinking 방금, but it's possible I wrote it backwards just because, yeah, they're both words. So anyway. Someone's asking, what is 약간? 약간? Slightly? It's an adverb. 약간 매워. 약간 씁쓸한 맛. 약간 매콤한 맛. 약간 약간 비싸. Like, it's slightly expensive. It's slightly spicy. It's slightly 약간 anything. Slightly. Not a lot. Not so much, just a little bit. But it's kind of leaning there. That's what you want to say. Whereas, like, if you say a lot, it's like, yeah, it definitely is. And you say a little, it's only a little bit. 약간 is like, yeah, it's kind of leaning in that direction of being so. That's it. Yagan and Maya, I think you're getting those. I would check Naver, and that'll clear it up for you right away, because those words have no relation. You also wrote yagan, which is a completely different verb. That's not what you want. I mean, different word. That's not what you want. Do you have a video explaining how to use your YouTube channel? For example, if we finish 100 beginner videos. Yes, at the end of, a lot of people have asked me this question. What do I do after I finish the 100 episode beginner course? The answer is, when you get to the 100 episode, you'll know what to do because I explain it in the 100th episode, what you should do. So don't worry about that. And by the time you finish that, you'll have a decent, if you actually practice it along the way and use it. If you're not using it, if you're just going through the motions and, writing sentences, but you're not actually trying to use it, then it's not going to work, just like any lesson. Like I can't teach you Korean. The only one who can teach you Korean is yourself. So you have to actually practice it. But let's just say you do the whole course and you practice it, you practice speaking it. By the time you finish that, you'll know where to go because you'll have a strong basic foundation already. You won't need to ask me, what's next, Billy? You'll kind of have an idea. You'll feel like, okay, I think I'm good now. I think I can start. I'm going to get, I've heard about this book. I've heard about this series. I've heard about, this place. I want to try doing this, or I want to go to this place, or maybe I just want to get a pen pal or whatever. You'll make your own decisions on that. But yeah, there isn't any like you have to do this after finishing, because once you have the basics down, you're pretty free to do whatever you want. Daliana says, if you go right now, do you have to do... yes, you do. But you would look up the requirements for that, because there are exceptions for visiting if you have a direct family member who is a parent. So only parents. If you're visiting them, then you can get an exception for that. But it's still, you have to still get tested. So it's not like a full exception. But yeah, there's detailed rules about that. And every country is different. So you have to look it up through your consulate, I believe, to find out the information about that. All right. Any other questions before we stop the live for today? I'll take just questions for 2 more minutes, and then we'll stop at 3:15. I have to look up torok and sorok. You mean surok? I have lessons about both of those as well. Okay, let's see. Finesser asks, how helpful do you think using Korean translations of English words? Would understanding how Koreans interpret English help us to learn Korean? No, I don't think so. Translations are never a good way to learn any language, because what are translations for? Like, let's just take subtitles for an example. Who are subtitles for? Are subtitles for people who speak Korean? No, they're for people who don't speak Korean. The subtitles' purpose is to make it easy to watch the show, so you understand what's going on. It is not to provide an accurate, literal translation for everything, nor is it going to provide 100% just a natural translation for everything. It might want to find a balance, depending on the audience. It also might prefer shorter translations over longer ones, just because you can't read that much. So translations, and this also applies for dictionary translations, they are for people who don't speak the language to understand. These are not like the natural ways of expressing things. And I find a lot of cases where a word in the dictionary doesn't show up as a natural expression in English. It'll show up maybe literally, but it won't show up naturally, because they're not going to do that in a dictionary. And then in a TV show, the translations are never going to match up with what they're saying in Korean either, because again, they're made for people who don't speak Korean. If you actually speak Korean, you're not using subtitles. So no, I don't think translations are ever a good way to go about learning any foreign language, not just Korean. But I will say definitely not for Korean, because that's the language that I teach. Persian Prince, Marvel Universe favorite superhero. Oh gosh, I don't know very much about comic books, so my knowledge is only limited to the movies, and I don't want to sound dumb by just saying my favorite superhero is someone who I saw because they made a movie out of him. So I don't know. I'm not really going to say anyone on that. Favorite superhero overall, maybe Batman, because he's cool. But like, as far as strength, Superman beats anyone. So yeah, do with that whatever you want. Okay, one more question. One more question. Let's see. I'm just checking to see if I missed any. Teresa, do you have a lesson on namoji? No, I don't. But really quick lesson is you use verb conjugated in the past tense as an adjective. So like hada would be han, namoji, and that's how you'd say in someone's verb. So in his sadness, he did something, or in his happiness, he did something. So like, in his anger, he destroyed the city. Like that's sort of in their sort of meaning. But I don't think I have a separate lesson about it. Maybe I could. If a member recommends it, maybe I'll do it. How do I become a member? There should be a button that says join for that. Let's see. If I had to go Korean a month, how do I go about it? Like, what are the words, phrases I need to learn? Tammy, you can start my beginner course if you just want a general guide of what things to do. There's 100 episodes. It's free. Other than that, if you're going to Korea in a month, don't expect to be speaking Korean. It's just too short of an amount of time to learn any sort of conversational abilities. You can learn phrases, though, so you can focus on what things do you think you're actually going to need to know how to say. Things like, please give me this at a restaurant. Not where is, because you're not going to be able to understand their answer, but please give me, yes, no, thank you, excuse me, I'm sorry. Things like that are going to be useful. And then numbers, you can buy things at the store, how to ask, how much is it? If you want to go a little bit farther, get fancy. But yeah, those are the only things I'd focus on. A month is too short to get conversational. The join button is not appearing. Oh, okay. I guess sometimes it doesn't appear properly, but there is a link in the video description for how to join the channel. So try that as well. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate, just want to say, I really do appreciate all of your support, and I enjoy doing these lessons, and hopefully we can keep doing them for a very long time. So we have 3 more options for class for next Saturday. So make sure to vote on those on Monday, tomorrow, when I put the vote up. If you are a member, you can make requests for that. So if you have a topic you would like me to teach, please give me the request for that sometime tonight. You can send it to me over Discord or wherever. And I will see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.